There have only been 2 hurricanes in the Atlantic this year, and of those, only Bill affected land, a brush with the Canadian Maritimes. But in the Pacific, 2 typhoons hit the Philippines and 1 hit Japan in just the last 2 weeks. And as strange as it may sound, the one that hit Japan indirectly helped bring the big rain and windstorm to California yesterday. A typhoon is just a hurricane in the western North Pacific Ocean, the world's most prolific breeding ground for tropical cyclones. Here, the average number of tropical storms per year is 26, the average number of typhoons 17. Compare that to annual averages of 11 tropical storms and 6 hurricanes in the Atlantic. In the western Pacific, typhoons actually develop year-round, though more than 80% do form between June and November. Most tropical cyclones are named using common first names, but the nations around the western Pacific use a different system. Sets of primarily Asian words that are not male or female names, but rather names of animals, plants, foods, astrological signs, or simply descriptive adjectives. The typhoons that hit the Philippines recently were named Quetzana and Parma. Quetzana is a kind of perfumed tree, while Parma is the name of a meal consisting of ham and chicken liver. Now, this chart shows the tracks of all tropical storms and typhoons in the western Pacific since 1945, and it's kind of messy because there have been so many. But of the ones that affect land, some will move nearly due west and strike the Philippines or Vietnam. Others will turn to the north and make landfall in southeast China or Japan, while still others will curve to the northeast, and their rainy, windy remnants will cross the Pacific. And along the way, they pump huge amounts of moisture and warm air well to the north and interact with the jet stream in complicated ways, sometimes torquing weather patterns well downstream in North America. And that interaction was even the focus of a huge field study in the North Pacific last year that stretched across 9 time zones. And had that project been running this year, they most certainly would have looked closely at Super Typhoon Malheur, which struck Japan last Thursday. We can actually track the remnants of Malheur across the Pacific. The solid lines here are isobars, lines of equal pressure. And over here on the left is Eastern Asia. This 40-degree north latitude line passes through Japan and crosses the Pacific and cuts into northern California. Just for additional orientation, there's Hawaii and here's Alaska. Now, this is last Thursday evening, and here's Malheur. By that time, it wasn't even tropical. Over the weekend, it got caught up in the westerly jet stream, and you could still see it as a surface low about halfway across the Pacific on Saturday. And as we move through to Monday, the low was positioned about 800 miles west of Portland, Oregon, helping to send strong southwesterly winds into California. And here's what the radar looked like yesterday. Waves of rain coming in off the Pacific. The lower elevations of central and northern California picked up 2 to 5 inches, with more than 10 inches in some of the mountains. And even Los Angeles picked up about an inch. You can even make an argument that a piece of the upper-level disturbance originally associated with Malheur will help dig the big trough in the eastern United States that Fred will talk about in the extended forecast next.